Good evening, this is Charlie Russell for Concord TV, and we're here for a live election coverage of the Concord elections, and we have some city elections, not an awful lot of contested races, and we have some charter commission races, we have a mayoral race and a couple of wards. And I have my co-host is a Renaissance man who wears many hats, and he's going to tell you who he is and how he wants people to know who he is.
Well, thank you, Charlie. It's November, so we must be electing somebody.
Yeah.
You know, New Hampshire and Concord, they love elections, and so we're in our sweet spot here tonight. Even though it's local races, these are very important races. And you asked me to introduce myself. Well, I'm Roger Brooks. I was a principal here in town for more than 35 years, and got to know different parts of the community as principal of 3 different schools. Since retiring in '09, I've got to do the things that I enjoyed most when I was principal. That is being involved in the arts, and I'm currently the chair of the State Arts Council, which is a 15-member council, and nominated by the governor and appointed for 5-year terms. I'm also active in Arts for New Hampshire, which is an advocacy organization, kind of a sister agency to the Council on the Arts. And I've just joined the New Hampshire Civics Board, which is looking for civics education improvement and defining social studies curriculum. I'm especially interested in the younger students. And finally, I'm also on the board of the New American Baccalaureate. I'm chair of that board, and we're looking to tie liberal arts colleges closely to the First of all, high school sophomores and juniors and seniors, those who may not think that they're college material, but we want to encourage them in that direction. So that's what I'm about, and I'm glad to wear a hat for you.
I understand you also keep the state senate in line too. Are you still involved with that?
Well, I am. I am the doorkeeper of the state senate. You know, before me, there was somebody that was 6'6" feet tall, and so I thought that must be the reason that I was selected, because I am on the
tall side,
a few inches taller than 6 feet. But I also thought that maybe they wanted somebody that wouldn't be afraid to shush the senators during the prayer, or hold them in or out during a roll call vote. So I've strengthened my arm.
Well, that's good. That's good. So I was a candidate many years ago. I was a moderator for 1 term, and I think it was old Ward B up in West Concord and heading up toward Pennacook. I can't tell you the campaigns I've been involved with. I go back to the 70s and been involved with the New Hampshire primary and met a lot of presidential wannabes. So, but anyway, so let's talk tonight. I mean, we only have, I thought we only had 2 council races contested, but I've been told and I talked to somebody, there's a write-in campaign over in Ward 10 where Joe Shoemaker, who ran when the seat was last empty in May of 2019, he started a write-in campaign against Xandra Rice Hawkins. Pennacook, Ward 1, we have Brent Todd, the incumbent, against William Barton. And then in Ward 5, we have Stacy Brown, a newcomer, although well-known in the community, and Mark Cohen looking to return. And then we have the mayor's race, Jim Boulay, and I told you I saw a sign for Taylor Hall. So were you out and about today? What was your view of the polls? I'm sure you went down and voted at Ward 5 like I did.
I did, Charlie. It seemed to be slow and steady, that there are no peaks or real valleys in the electorate, but it wasn't a huge turnout. But the people were engaged, and when I was there about 11 o'clock, Ward 5, you know, we had to wait in line a little bit, and It was active, and it was a pleasure to see so many people out.
Yeah, it's always good to meet, and of course you have to bring your ID, but let's go down the list here. 2 at-large councilors that are holdovers, Byron Champlin and Nathan Fennessy. They're in the middle of 4-year terms. In Ward 2, Earl Pierce is unopposed. He'll continue on. Jennifer Kredovic, Ward 3. Karen Mcnamara, she was elected in a special election,
That's right.
I think back in May or June, and she has no opposition. A new stepping down was Linda Kennison in Ward 6, and Paula McLaughlin is running, and her first time running, and no opposition. So congratulations to a new city councilor to be. Keith Nyan in Ward 7, no opposition. Gail Matson up on the Heights, Mr. Susi, who she ran and beat at least 3 or 4 times, has decided, I guess, to not run again. Candace Bouchard in Ward 9, and Xander Rice Hawkins. We expected her to be a holdover, but we'll see what the results are from Ward 10. It may take a while with a write-in campaign. But quite a few females, possibility of at least a 50-50 tie on females on the council. I seem to remember years ago there was a national thing. There were 13 state reps from Concord and a few Republicans, but they were all females. And at the state reps, I think it's mixed right now. But anyway, so...
Well, and at the state level in 2010, there was a majority of women in the Senate.
There was, okay. And of course, we had a female mayor, Liz Hager, back in the mid to late 80s. Boston's making a big to-do. They're going to have their first female mayor. Who knows what the results will be? And Manchester already has 2 females running, so gender does not appear to be the, I won't say handicap, but the holdback as it was in earlier days.
I think there's a reason that we have so many female candidates, and that's because we have such a large House of Representatives. We have 400 members in the House, and that allows people who don't have a lot of political experience their first run at an office.
Yeah.
And, you know, for every 3,100 and some voters, we each have one representative in the House.
The the closest in size is Pennsylvania, which has 200, and you know there's been considerable, and we're not talking about the legislative races, but considerable press on some people making some kind of out of the mainstream comments, or some of them having to resign or be arrested or whatever, not to malign the whole 400. And so others have talked about, well, maybe it's time we cut the number down. You know, the Senate probably needs to be a little bigger. There's 24, and back in the 80s, I think they were going to go to 36, but they voted it down.
Well, Charlie, you know, you've done your history and your research into the history, because every about 10 or 20 years, somebody comes up with the idea that says, you know, this House of Representatives is just too large, and you know, our Senate is one of the smaller ones.
Mm-hmm.
We should do exactly as you're suggesting. And so they have a commission and they study it and they come up with a recommendation. Sometimes they say, let's put it on the ballot. Yeah. And that's about as far as it gets, because nobody's wanted to change that. And I think that there are pluses and minuses. The senators, it's argued, they have too much power, because there's only 24 of them. Mm-hmm. The House has too little. There's only a few chairs of committees that really run the show. Mm-hmm. But when you look back and say these people are serving for $100 a year, they've got to have some dedication here.
Yeah. Well, we got lots of film clips. I don't know if we had people out there, staff here, Josh and Mike out there filming some of the activities. I don't know if we're ready. We're awaiting the results. Obviously, it's going to take a few minutes, so I don't know if they're ready to go, but feel free to let me know if we're ready. You ready for one? All right, we'll see what we're going to run here. Here we go. So we're back. We'll talk about the school board of education. They have 4 on the ballot. Incumbent Pam Walsh, who was elected just last year in a special election. Timothy Benitez, who has dropped out.
That's right.
And Robert Cotton, who's an attorney in town, and Barbara Higgins, who has been on the board for probably 2 or 3 terms, although she did lose 1 election along the way. And so there's 9 that serve on the board. They elect 2 from 3 districts, but none of them are up for election. They're it's a 3-year term. And so there's really no choice with that 4th person dropping out. So I guess, I assume Mr. Benitez, who didn't campaign or dropped out, probably won't get a lot of votes. So I guess we want to call out one for Walsh, Cotton, and Higgins. Some of the candidates, you were involved with the schools for a while.
Well, I don't want to call anything until we get some actual votes.
Yeah.
You know, there are surprises.
Strong likelihood, I guess.
And but I think you're right. It's tough to be a public servant these days. You know, whether it's city council or on the school board, because back when I was principal, I'd go to the school board meetings, and there may be one person that felt that it was his duty to berate public servants and go to every meeting and keep the meetings long and tedious, and every now and then come up with a good idea. But nowadays, especially with issues of masks, I talked to some of my friends that are superintendents. They say it's just incredible, you know, that all the things that are going on at the state level. There are, you know, death threats, and the state police have to guard some of our public servants. Even the governors.
Yeah, we've seen that covered
involved.
publicly in the news, but And I guess that may be why there's only 4 running for 3 and then to 3. And, I looked at it, I went through the committees. I mean, there's 9 there, and we'll talk about this a little later in the charter portion, but there's 9 there. But there's, I think, 6 committees, and there's 3 people serve on 4 committees, 3 people serve on 3, and 3 serve on 2. That's an awful lot of nights out in public service, and they're paying you the same thing they pay the city council, $1,000, which, as I was told today by one candidate, doesn't even pay my babysitters for my meetings.
Right.
So I guess there's not a long line of people wanting to step up to the plate and take a lot of criticism. So.
Well, I really admire the ones that do, because it, as you say, there's a lot of criticism and a lot of time away from home, and you have to have that burning desire to get things done. Many of the candidates are candidates because their kids are going through school. Other candidates are candidates that they've appreciated what the school district has done and want to give back. Some bring some fiscal restraint and to the table, and others bring passion.
Well, Bob Cotton is new. He's a contemporary of ours. I think he's probably just past 70. Forgive me if you're still in your 60s, Mr. Cotton. And he's an attorney in town, and he's a military graduate, I guess an officer in the military, and he's an attorney dealing with a lot of nonprofits which have budgetary issues, so we might expect some sort of restraints from him. The other issues we have are the Charter Commission. Every 10 years, we did one about 10 years ago, there's a Charter Commission to review what changes, if any, should be in the city charter, which runs, I think, 7 or 8 pages. I ran it off. And we've got some competition for that in District A, which is 1, 2, 3, and 4, or parts of 1 and 2, and then 3 and 4. Tom Croto is running. He's a former 3-term school board member, retired principal, a teacher, a hometown person. Matthew Fisk is running, first time running. He is I've been told, an assistant principal in Bow. Tracy Lesser, I met today at the polls. She is a professor down at the Tech in chemistry, environment, and agriculture. Patrice Myers, I don't have much on her. And then Benton Chick Smith, longtime Concord resident, golf coach, a military officer in, was it the reserves or the Guard? I forget, I get them confused. And served on a lot of things, a mentor involved in. So some experienced people with some educational background, and some new people that have been involved in the community. Interesting to see what happens there. And then District B, which is 5, 6, and 7. I don't believe it's Bill Glan and Nancy Kane. Bill was a member of the Charter Commission last time. He's an attorney out of Manchester and been involved. I think he was on the Dairyfield School Board.
And he's been on the Concord School Board?
Yeah, years ago. Actually, I think he was on back in the late 80s, and then he came back, I think, the first half of the teens.
That's correct.
And then District C, Catherine Vaughn and Eric Weiner. I seem to recall, was Weiner on the council, or did he run for the council? He's up on the Heights.
That's right. Yeah.
So we don't have an awful lot of background on them, but they are unopposed.
Yep. So
Charter Commission will hold hearings. People can come down and say, we need more on the board, we need more elected from the districts as opposed to at large.
Well, that, the Ward 1 race, you mentioned, but the one that has the most contestants are the at-large, I believe, and so we have...
oh, yeah, we didn't go through that, I'm sorry.
Bill Artinger and... Cogswell and Betty Hoadley and Bob Washburn and Ray Schweiker.
So
Roy Schweiker.
Yeah, there's 5 there, and again, Cogswell and Hoadley are former chairs of the school board. Washburn is a former city council member, a fairly outspoken, a good letter writer. He put out a good idea about getting the school board elections in line with the municipal elections for either 2 or 4 year terms, and not getting them mixed up with the presidential or gubernatorial elections, which I think has some merit.
Well, I think a counter argument, I thought his was the most provocative idea anyway. A counter argument is that if we stagger every 3 years, then it rotates who has to be up against that mass of candidates during a presidential year.
Yeah, well, that's it. And then we didn't say Bill Artinger is an at-large candidate. He's an attorney in town. He served 10 years ago on the Charter Commission, and he is the name Artinger certainly has good name recognition. She was chair for, she must have been on the for 6 or 9 years, and then she ran,
terms, yeah.
And then she ran for state senate in 2014, losing to Senator Feltus.
Well, Charlie, you also served on the Charter Commission. Do you want to talk a little bit about what it's like to be on one of these commissions, and what the issues you face, and what you see the pluses and minuses?
It was a while ago. I guess the first thing I remembered was they were kind of setting the agenda on meetings, and they said, well, let's decide, and then we'll have some hearings to see what people have to say. And I said, well, let's not decide for the people. Let's have the hearings first. And that was, I guess, probably the only real victory I had in that, and something I did. So we had some people come in and say, well, what do you think is going on? And hopefully they have the hearings first in this new Charter Commission. I was more concerned that someone to be on the school board, all 9 were elected at large. So if you were head of a PTA or an executive, maybe a treasurer or something on a PTA, and you wanted to run for the school board, you had to run citywide, and I think that was a deterrence. And I actually ran some numbers here that through the years with the districts, in 2020 we had 4 seats and we had 10 people running. Mm-hmm. And in 2017 we had 6 run for 3 seats. So over the last, I guess, 10 years or 9 years since it changed, we've had 27 people run for 47 people run for 27 openings. So I think you get, and you know, as much as you don't think it's Concord is a diverse community, it is.
It is, and the other thing that creating these wards did was, as you suggest, it allowed people with less means that may not have the appropriate amount of money to do a citywide campaign. Yeah. It allowed them in. I remember the argument at the time. They thought, you know, if there's one elected from this school, one elected from this school, they're just going to look out for their own school's interests. Yeah. And I haven't seen that happen at all.
Yeah. Well, you know, there was well, when they did the mergers in the aughts, you know, when they merged Walker with Kimball, I guess it was named then, there was a lot of talk about it, and that worked out well. They worked to get all the parents and the kids
with Rumford and Conant.
Yeah. So you know, we're a more diverse community. I mean, somebody told me today we have so many Afghanistani refugees designated to come to Concord, so we're going to have some more diversity. And so to the extent that I mean, I look now and say the council, I mean, the school board has too few people for too many committees, and we might want to look toward expanding maybe 3 from each district, or maybe some at large. But that's to be decided. But I think you throw, like Washburn did, Bob Washburn, he threw an idea out to consider. And the city clerk said to me, she said, we have to print so many more ballots on 2020 than we do on 2019 or 2021. We actually have a separate ballot from the state ballot. And he says, so that's a lot of money, and we talked earlier about if only 15% vote in school board and municipal elections, we got 50% in say a non-presidential year. Do those 35% people that vote all of a sudden become experts on school issues, or do they just pick the Irishman or the Frenchman or the the Italian, you know, they go
Well,
by
It's
surnames.
probably a little bit of both, but I think you just made the counter argument to that, you know, that you're going to get a larger electorate to vote for those people. So I think the way it is now, by staggering terms, yes, 1 year you may be up against whoever's running for president,
Yep.
and the next time around, you'll be all alone and have to defend yourself on your record.
So that's the issue, Charter Commission members. We define it, and we have our difference of opinion here, and we're still awaiting results here. It's 7:26. We haven't seen anything come in. We can see a charter at large chart up there that has lots of zeros. It kind of looks like, I don't know,
Everybody's
the New York Jets scoreboard, I think, with lots of zeros on it. But
Well, one of the things that is occurring this year, by and large, there are a lot of experienced candidates, people that may be running for the for election that haven't run in a few years. Mark Cohn's coming back from being an at-large councilor and running as a ward councilor.
Betty Hoadley is coming back. And
Betty Hoadley, Clint Cogswell, Artinger, all those people that were on the, and Washburn that were on the Charter Commission before are starting. So I think that portends well for, you know, kind of the institutional history. Certainly Betty Hoadley has more institutional history than probably anybody else. And Clint Cogswell has been there in the trenches and as board chair for many, many years. So I think whatever happens, it'll be interesting. I think in Ward 5, you know, Stacey Brown is a vigorous candidate, and since it's an open seat, I think that's
be an interesting race to see what the results are. I mean, she's certainly paid her dues in the community, doing lots of things, as has Mark Cohen. Do we have another clip to run? If we haven't put you to sleep yet, we're hoping for some results coming in soon here. There's a Ward 5 council. They don't have results up there. We see on our screen zeros. But so we go into a clip, or we gonna talk about.
Well, I'd be interested to see when Ward 10 comes in, and whether that's riding because there's a write-in candidate, or if it's right along with everybody else.
They were. Yeah, you told me they were what? They were 102 votes apart.
Right.
What's that? 24, about 30 months ago.
We're getting our first results in now.
Oh, that's good.
Okay.
First results are coming in here.
We'll cut to video.
We're going to cut to a video.
Joanne Jordan. We're in Concord at the community center. I think that the smaller elections are really where the rubber meets the road, and people need to have great knowledge of what's going on in their own city, what historically as well as currently. Well, I think that some folks don't understand the importance of these elections. The often and most likely will come out when it's presidential or senator, which are very important as well. But your everyday life is really important to these people that want to take the role in city council, school board. That affects us every day.
My name is Stacey Brown, and I'm running to be the next Ward 5 City Councilor. I would say that this is the one election that is going to impact your life directly because it has to deal with city issues, and it's an opportunity for you to get to know the candidate who will represent you. I have had a great time meeting residents of Ward 5, getting to know them, getting to know about what they care about, and putting a face to the name. So I would look forward to representing all residents of Ward 5, and I hope that folks, if they see me, and I am the next Ward 5 City Councilor, are comfortable approaching me just to say hi, to say what they care about, what they would like to see happen in the city.
My name is Mike Rudig, and I live on Center Street in Concord. Well, it's important to vote in every election that we have the chance to vote in, but the local elections are the most important because they have the greatest impact on our lives. You know, our city council and our school boards, they run our schools, they keep public safety, and those things affect us every day. So those elections are, I think, the most important.
Municipal elections are probably, in my opinion, the most important elections that we can participate in, because those are the elections which determine how our kids are educated. They're everything from how your garbage is picked up to how fresh and clean your water is, and how important our parks and our libraries, and of course public safety and such. So these are all the things that every day you're affected by, and of course there's no shortage of opinions, because we make sure take care of our roads, and everybody's got an opinion about when they bump down the street. But we need you to participate, and it's not just today and coming to vote, but elected officials always want to hear people's opinions and their thoughts, so it's important for people to stay engaged.
We have 3 wards here. Ward 1, Mayor Jim Boulay, 216, Taylor Hall, 96. Council at large, uncontested, 2 elected, 216, Amanda Grady Sexton, Fred Keach, 179. Council at large, contested, Brent Todd, 241, William Barton, 63. So incumbent Councilor Todd is re-elected one of our contested races. You're going to do
Sure.
school district up there? It's a small numbers up in
These are
one.
small numbers because part of the district's in Pennacook, which does not elect the
Merrimack Valley Board, yeah.
yeah. So we've got for Charter Commission at large, William Artinger, 32, Clint Cogswell, 26, Betty Hoadley, 35, Roy Schweiker, 12, and Bob Washburn, 19. So there's certainly a trend there.
Yeah.
For Charter Commission, District A, Tom Croto, 30 votes. Tracy Lesser, 26. Matthew Fisk, 12. Patrice Myers, 0. Oh, and Chick Smith, 3. For Board of Education, Pamela Walsh, 39. Robert Cotton, 35. Barbara Higgins, 28. And Tim Benitez, 22.
Yeah, on Chick Smith, it looks like 13 and not 3, so he would be in third place. We have Ward 5 here. Here's Ward. Do you want to look at 5? I'll do
Okay.
the first couple. The mayor in Ward 5, we had 841 ballots. The mayor, 701. Taylor Hall, 111. At large, Sexton, 592, Fred Keach, 477. You got ward councilor there on number 5?
Ward Councilor, yes. And this is
Contested.
the contested election. Stacy Brown, 548. Mark Cohen, 277. So it looks like Stacy Brown has handily defeated Mark Cohen for that open seat in Ward 5.
And that vote, 795 voted back in 2019, so that's a big vote. Do you want to finish with 5 there on?
On the Charter Commission?
Yes.
So, Charter Commission at large, Bill Artinger, 563. Clint Cogswell, 530. Elizabeth Hoadley, 576. Roy Schweiker, 85, and Robert Washburn, 206. So this trend seems to be holding pretty clear that Bill Artinger, Clint Cogswell, and Betty Hoadley seem to be well out in front. There were 2 positions for District B, Bill Glahn, 558, Nancy Kane, 500. For Board of Education, Pamela Walsh, 651, Tim Benitez, 175, Robert Cotton, 602, and Barbara Higgins, 392.
So let's see, we've given you 1 and 5 here. I got another one. Let's see, we can give you. We got a few more. They're coming in fast and furious here. Ward 7.
Go ahead, 7.
Ward 7. Jim Boulay, the current mayor, 372. Taylor Hall, 100. Amanda Grady Sexton, 368. Fred Keach, 349. Keith Nyan, 412. 485 ballots cast down there. That's down considerably from last time, which had 759. No competition in the ward officials. What do we got at large?
So, the Charter Commission, we have number 1 vote getter was Betty Hoadley, 309. Number 2 was Clint Cogswell, 292. Number 3 was Bill Artinger, was 285. Number 4 was Robert Washburn, 165. And Roy Schweiker came in with 91 for Charter Commission. 2 of 2, Bill Glahn, 339, and Nancy Kane, 349. Board of Education, Pam Walsh, 376, came in first. Robert Cotton, 339, came in second. Barb Higgins, 316, and Timothy Benitez, 112.
All right, so let's see. We got I got Ward 8 here. I don't know
Ward
if we can
8.
dig that one out. Let's
Sure.
see. Mayor is 151. Boulay, Taylor Hall, 60. So I guess, based upon the 3 or 4 wards we've read, looks like the mayor is going to be handily reelected. Councilor at large, Amanda Grady Sexton, looks like 150, and Fred Keach, 136. Gail Matson in Ward 8 was no competition. She had 173, 218 votes, no competition, and ward officials. Charter Commission at large, you want to read those?
Sure. Betty Hoadley came in first again at 126. Clint Cogswell, second, 108. Bill Artinger, 98. Robert Washburn, 102, and Roy Schweiker, 58. For District C Commission, you're voting for 2 candidates. There were 2 candidates, Catherine Vaughn, 144, and Eric Weiner, 130. Board of Education, Pam Walsh, 149, Robert Cotton, 130, Barb Higgins, 113, and Timothy Benitez, 75.
So I guess we're going to rely on, let's see, so we've done, let's see, I've checked them off here. Number 8, I got number 10 here.
Number
Let's see.
10.
Let's see, go through these here. Number 10, 6, I don't know if we read that one. Okay, number 10, Mayor, Boulay, 423, Taylor Hall, 104. Certainly, as I said, I think we can project that as a winner. Amanda Grady Sexton, 390 to Fred Keach, 311. Both of them will be elected on Zandy Rice Hawkins, 347 in Ward 10, and there were 549 ballots cast, so that would leave 202 not accounted for there, but would certainly not be enough for Shoemaker in his write-in campaign.
That's right.
So it appears Xander Rice Hawkins was reelected. Ward officials, there was a competition for the supervisor's checklist. Catherine Robert, 256. Greg William Gilbert, 189. And then you can do the school section on 10.
So the Charter Commission at large, we have Betty Holdley, 326, Clint Cogswell, 320, Bill Artinger, 300, Robert Washburn, 174, and Roy Schweiker, 92. For Charter Commission District C, 2 candidates for 2 positions. Catherine Vaughn, 332, and Eric Weiner, 267. They were both elected. Board of Education, we can say that Pam Walsh, 393, Robert Cotton, 340, and Barbara Higgins, 294, have been elected. Tim Benitez has 124.
And they're coming in fast and furious. I think you're seeing some of the results up there on the screen. I don't know if they're flashing those, but let's see, what have we got here? I got Ward 2 here. There's your sheet on Ward
Okay.
2. The mayor, 102 to 55. Taylor Hall, 207 ballots cast there. Grady Sexton, 111. Fred Keach, 101. Earl Pierce reelected, 134. No competition in the ward officials. Marlboro ward clerk. I don't know if you Charter Commission at large.
Sure.
Why don't you go down there?
Betty Hoadley, 86. Bill Artinger got 68, and Clint Cogswell, 67. So those 3 continue
Washburn,
to
Washburn
be
at
high.
68
But
down there.
Bob Washburn got 68 in this one, so he edged out Clint Cogswell for 3rd place, and Roy Schweiker, 46. For Charter Commission, District A, you're choosing 2 candidates. The top candidate top vote getting candidate, Tom Croto, 66, Tracy Lesser, 63, Matthew Fisk had 39, Patrice Myers, 36, and Chick Smith, 33. For Board of Education, Pamela Walsh, 111, Barbara Higgins, 97, Robert Cotton, 72, and Tim Benitez, 32.
And then, we're coming in fast and furious here. Ward 3, you have that. Ward 3, Mayor Boulay, 244. Taylor Hall, 73. Council at Large, Grady Sexton, 256. 187 for Keach. Jennifer Kretovic, re-elected unopposed, 264. No competition. Mark Dunn, ward clerk, 265. And the school district, I think it's, Washburn's kind of doing might be coming up. Certainly looks like Schweiker's out of it at this point, but Washington.
Yeah, I think he's a solid fourth. Betty Hoadley is 191, Clint Cogswell 186, Bill Artinger 183, Robert Washburn 127, and Roy Schweiker 58. For Charter Commission, District A, we have Tom Croto, 167, Tracy Lesser, 128. Looks like there's some space now between those top running candidates. Chick Smith had 81, Matthew Fisk, 67, and Patrice Myers, 39. For School Board of Education, Pam Walsh, 219, Robert Cotton, 196, Barb Higgins, 190, and Tim Benitez, 74.
So now we got here a few, I don't know.
Ward
I guess
4?
They're coming in at 746, so we've had pretty much all of them coming in here. I got Ward 4 here, Mayor Boulay, 252, Taylor Hall, 74, so Mayor Boulay re-elected for his 8th term. Amanda Grady Sexton, again leading Fred Keach, 235 to 190. Karen McNamara, who won a special election in the spring, running unopposed, 267. Ward moderator, ward clerk, and supervisor checklist, John Williams, Charles Nelson, Mary Field, elected without opposition. Charter Commission at large.
So we have Betty Hoadley, again, leading at 202, Clint Cogswell, 183, and Bill Artinger, 178. Those three are elected. Robert Washburn had 94. Roy Schweiker had 60. There were 6 write-ins, by the way.
Yeah.
For Charter Commission District A, we have Tom Croto again coming in first at 155, and Tracy Lester, 130. Looks like those two are Charter Commission members.
Yeah.
We've got Matthew Fisk at 65, and Chick Smith at 65, Patrice Myers, 41. Board of Education, Pamela Walsh, 246, Robert Cotton, 188, Barb Higgins, 177, and Tim Benitez, 60.
Yeah, well, let's take a little second here to thank all those that ran that may not be elected, but for taking part in the civic experience and giving people choices. Thank the poll workers. They've certainly worked pretty hard, and they're there all day, and they don't get overpaid, is my recollection. And also the voters that went out, I don't know, usually 16% of the community goes out. So I got Ward 9 here. Jim Boulay, 136, Taylor Hall, 36, Amanda Grady Sexton, again, topping the 2 ticket there, 140, to Fred Keach, 109, Candace C.W. Bouchard, 151, moderator Luddick, ward clerk Seward, and Catherine Rogers, all elected without opposition. 100 and, let's see, Ward 9, not a lot of, 175 ballots cast, probably pretty low.
That's a low one.
And
so Charter Commission, it's consistent pretty much throughout the city that Betty Hoadley has 112 and leads that Ward 9. Clint Cogswell, 100 votes. William Artinger, 95 votes. So Robert Washburn, 57, and Roy Schweiker, 35. You know, Roy Schweiker and Taylor Hall both said that they just wanted to be in because they were afraid there'd be no competition.
give some choices, yeah.
Yeah, Catherine Vaughn had 126, and Eric Weiner, 101. They're both elected to the Charter Commission. Board of Education, Pamela Walsh led all the way, 126. Barbara Higgins, 114, and Robert Cotton, 101, with Tim Benitez, 37. So Walsh, Cotton, and Higgins are elected to the school board.
Ward 9, 175 ballots. So not a huge turnout. I've talked to some candidates that have gone door to door and said, gee, some people didn't even know there was an election. And I mean, again, if we're in the thanking business,
Yeah.
the Monitor did good profiles. They ran them. They ran stories when somebody dropped out.
Concord Patch also.
Yeah, Tony Chanella, they hosted the debates, as well as Concord TV. They had them, and they ran the profiles. They gave some time.
That's right.
And so we got Ward 6 here, which actually had more ballots cast than some of the other wards, which is...
Have we done Ward 6 already?
I don't have a check on it, so I don't think
Okay.
we've done it here. So I got 161 for Mayor Boulay, Taylor Hall 61. So he's winning consistently by 100 or more votes in some of these. Amanda Grady Sexton, 179. Fred Keach, 137. Paula McLaughlin, a new entry. Linda Kennison steps down. Paula McLaughlin steps up to the plate, has no competition, so she gets a free ride in, but she'll certainly be serving on the council. Moderator, Sarah Chaffee, Catherine Porter, ward clerk, and, actually we had a supervisor, were elected, and we had a supervisor of the checklist, Lydia Irwin, 110, Paul F. Coddington Jr., 74.
So there was an election there, competition.
Yeah.
For the Charter Commission, again, Betty Hoadley is leading, 154. Bill Artinger came in second in this district in Ward 6 with 129. Clint Cogswell, 111. Robert Washburn, 81. And Roy Schweiker, 48. For the Charter Commission, District B, we have Nancy Kane, 156, and Bill Glahn, 148. It'll be interesting to see, since they were almost unopposed, which one came out, because they're pretty close to the vote all the way through.
Yeah.
For Board of Education, Pamela Walsh, 170. Robert Cotton, 134, excuse me. And Barb Higgins, 130, with Tim Benitez, 72.
And we hadn't mentioned it. Tom Croto is also running for treasurer unopposed, treasurer of the school board. He got 179. Patrick Taylor, clerk, 177. So let me just go through all my checks here. We got, I have 8, I have 10, I checked them off as we read them. I have 1. We got a film clip we can go to while we figure out whether we've given all the results or not. Any film clips out there? And let's see, I got Ward 7 we've given them. And
Ward 2.
Ward 2. So anyway, so
10.
we go into a film clip right now. See you later.
Joanne Jordan. We're in Concord at the community center. I think that the smaller elections are really where the rubber meets the road, and people need to have great knowledge of what's going on in their own city, what historically as well as currently. Well, I think that some folks don't understand the importance of these elections. They often and most likely will come out when it's presidential or senator, which are very important as well. But your everyday life is really important to these people that want to take the role in city council, school board. That affects us every day.
My name is Stacy Brown, and I'm running to be the next Ward 5 City Councilor. I would say that this is the one election that is going to impact your life directly because it has to deal with city issues, and it's an opportunity for you to get to know the candidate who will represent you. I have had a great time meeting residents of Ward 5, getting to know them, getting to know about what they care about, and putting a face to the name. So I would look forward to representing all residents of Ward 5, and I hope that folks, if they see me, and I am the next Ward 5 City Councilor, are comfortable approaching me just to say hi, to say what they care about, what they would like to see happen in the city.
My name is Mike Rudig, and I live on Center Street in Concord. Well, it's important to vote in every election that we have the chance to vote in, but the local elections are the most important because they have the greatest impact on our lives. You know, our city council and our school boards, they run our schools, they keep public safety, and those things affect us every day. So those elections are, I think, the most important.
So we're back. Went through the numbers here. We haven't added them up. I think it's the staff here, and hats off to them for their work, Matt and Connor and Josh and Mike here at Concord TV. But we went through the votes. Ward 10 was down 250 votes. The only ward that was up over last time was Ward 8 was up, Ward 5 was up 50 votes, but most of the wards were down 100 to 125 votes, so it was a low turnout. Last time it was 5,104. 2017 it was like 46. I give you the low 4,000. So it was a yawner, except even in the contested races, except in 5. Mayor won, Mayor Boulay won, Sexton Keach won at large. Hawkins won beat back a write-in in Ward 10. Artinger, let's see, you want to go through the list here? I think we pretty well know who it is. You want to go through the school board?
Sure. Well,
People?
Betty Hoadley won, Clint Cogswell won, and Bill Artinger won on the at-large, defeating Robert Washburn and Roy Schweiker. In Charter Commission District A, that was a competition, and Tom Croto and Tracy Lesser were the ones that were victorious over Matt Fisk, Patrice Myers, and Chick Smith.
And then,
In Board of Education, although it seemed like there was a competition, one of the candidates dropped out. So Pam Walsh, Robert Cotton, and Barb Higgins really had it all to themselves, with Tim Benitez, who dropped out, also received several votes. Tom Croto running for treasurer. It was unanimous.
he was in District A as well,
Right.
so it looks like he and Lesser were elected
That's
Charter
right.
Commission in A. C, Vaughn and Weiner were not opposed. They were elected.
B, Glahn, and Kane were unopposed.
So we have it all there. Patrick Taylor, clerk, succeeding Roger Phillips, who had run for quite a while. Stacy Brown winning quite handily, almost 2-1 over Mark Cohen. So I guess I'd say the torch is passed. We now have, I think we have a female majority on the city council.
Well, you know, you mentioned the low turnout, and it can mean many things. There wasn't a lot of competition, frankly.
Yeah.
In the one ward where we did have competition, we saw an increase in voters over a similar election to 19. So you can say maybe people are just comfortable with those people, and there wasn't much competition, so there wasn't a big write-in or protest vote. The incumbents all won, and where there was a contested race, more people came out. So I think democracy still works here in Concord.
No surprises. So we talked about getting done at 8:30. Looks like we're going to get done at 7:59 in record time. So Charlie Russell, appreciate your voting. We appreciate the staff at the polls working hard. All those that held signs, all those that voted, and my co-host, Dr. Roger Brooks. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Charlie. It's always a pleasure to co-host these events with you. To all of you, good night.